Welcome to the Boosting Business Breakthroughs podcast, where coaches gain the confidence, motivation, and expertise to make their next business breakthrough. I am your host, Lori Young, certified master marketer, business growth coach, and all-around truth teller. Breakthroughs can come with flashes of absolute clarity, sudden shifts in mindset, learning new skills, changes in habits, or anything else that changes the course of your coaching business. So if you're ready to be inspired and break through to your next level of growth, let's go. Welcome to episode 7 of the Boosting Business Breakthroughs podcast for coaches. Today, we've got a really exciting topic. We are going to be talking about human design. And if you're not familiar with this, which a lot of people are not, you're in for some really, really interesting content. We are going to be talking about what human design is and how you can use your own personal human design to create magnetic content for your business that's aligned with who you truly are. Not what everyone else tells you to create, but content that is aligned with you and your unique human design. And I have the perfect guest today, and I'm going to introduce her. Jen Dys is a human design coach and marketing strategist for entrepreneurs. From physical therapist to human design coach, Jen transitioned from her career in physical therapy into a full-time online business offering Pinterest marketing. Although she saw success in the growth of that business, she still felt that she was meant for more. In her work with her own human design, her search for her true path, and 2 years working with business owners on their marketing strategies, she saw a gap. Too many entrepreneurs relying all on the business and marketing strategy and not doing what actually worked for them. Today, she helps women in business get crystal clear on their unique strengths, talents, and gifts so they can infuse more of their magic into their business and create that hell yes life of their dreams using human design. So welcome, Jen, to the show today. I'm so excited to have you because I actually have started to dive a little bit into human design, and I found it like super fascinating. I don't know how I found out about it, but somehow I did. And I was like, what is this? And I started to dive into it and read a little bit about it, find out what my human design was. It's complicated, to say the least. So I'm glad that you are here. So why don't we just start by you telling us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and your business.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lori, for having me today. So just a little bit about myself. Before I started in this whole online business thing, I was a physical therapist for 13 years. I did all of the things, checked the boxes, got the career, got the degree. And I thought I was set, and I wasn't. It was one of those things where I just kept hitting these blocks of this can't be it for me. This can't be all there is. And I started venturing into owning my own business, wanting to be independent, and really dipping my toes into starting a virtual assistant business in the beginning.
Okay.
And with everything that happened in 2020, I was working in the hospital at the time. I was already working on reducing my hours and stepping out of that career. So that was already in motion. But I think everything that happened that year was just that fire that I needed to be lit underneath me. So I originally launched not a virtual assistant business, but a Pinterest marketing company that I ran for 2 years. And so that was the purpose of that was just to get out of my job, have freedom. I loved marketing. I loved Pinterest. And so that's kind of what I went with. And I hit this point with that business growing to the point where I needed help. I kind of had the max amount of clients I could take, and everything I kept getting from feedback from mentors and peers was, you have to subcontract. It's time to scale. You go the agency route. And again, that was that same feeling of this can't be the route. This can't be it. And so I knew in my soul that growing and scaling into a marketing agency was not the route for me. And I had also in the background had kind of stumbled across human design through a program I was in prior to all of this happening, started experimenting and diving into it and learning more about it for myself. And then leveraged it and utilized it for some of these bigger decisions. And that's how I made that pivot in my business to go from Pinterest marketing company into marketing. I wanted to focus on marketing strategy, but not just marketing strategy, now leveraging your marketing in your business and in your brand with the power of your human design. So that's kind of how I've got to where I'm at today.
Got it. Okay. So you had mentioned before we kind of started this call, about your business breakthrough. Like, tell me about like when you kind of broke through and just knew that, okay, this pivot or this change or this breakthrough is what made my business like change course and go in a direction that really felt authentic for you.
Yeah. And so it was just knowing in my heart that what made the most logical sense, which was, okay, you can't take on any more clients. You need to bring in a subcontractor. You need to start working on your SOPs. I started doing some of those actions that were recommended to me. Mm-hmm. And I just kept freezing. I just kept hitting this wall of like, this just doesn't feel right. There's just something off about this. This is not the route I want to go. And for me, it was really kind of doing that soul searching and really trying to figure out, okay, if this isn't my next right step, what is? And so I did some experimenting and playing around with Pinterest and strategy and coaching on the Pinterest platform. And that's where I found like, I love this idea of the strategy, the marketing strategy, the customer journey that I was indeed working with clients on just through the Pinterest platform. But I loved that bigger picture of the strategy and how we as business owners really have to like incorporate like how we're showing up in our content, how we're showing up in our brand, how we're getting visible, how we're making new connections and bringing people along on their customer journey to, into our world.
Right.
I loved all of that. And the human design aspect, just pulling that in, it was one of those things where it was just like that hit of inspiration of like, why don't you blend the two together? Because I didn't see anybody else out there doing that. That was not something that from the human design side I saw, and vice versa on the marketing side. I was just seeing a lot of online marketing tactics and strategies. And the biggest pivot with that was just knowing my own human design and how I'm designed to show up and make decisions and actually show up in my business and serve other people, and giving myself that permission. It was also that pivot of like, this is what I want to help others with. Like, I want to help others kind of own who they are, their unique strengths, talents, and gifts, and pull that out of, maybe they feel like they have these strengths, they feel like they have these gifts, but they're not really stepping into them or leveraging them in their like messaging and their marketing and their branding. And so that was kind of the biggest catalyst of like, this is what I really want to help people with, is really falling in love with the marketing that they're doing, the way that they're showing up, the message that they're putting out there, and how they're able to show up and serve their clients in a way that feels so freeing to them, that brings them so much joy. And because it's how they're uniquely designed to operate and show up in their business. Got
it. So let's just start with what is human design, because I know that there's probably a mix of listeners. Some people probably have heard of human design. Maybe some people have really dived into it. And then there's other people who have no idea what we're even talking about. So let's start with the basics and like just explain what is human design.
Yes, this is a question I get quite often. So what is human design? So if you are completely brand new to human design or what it is, I like to equate it to if you have taken like other personality tests, like the Enneagram or the Myers-Briggs or the DISC assessment. Any of those personality tests, they are designed as tools to help you just learn a little bit more about yourself, your personality, how you interact with others. And then you can also leverage those tools in different ways in your business and how you're, working with team members or just showing up in your business too.
Right.
But human design is very similar in that it's going to help you understand more at a deeper level who you are and what makes you unique. to others in your niche and in your industry.
Mm-hmm.
The difference, though, is these other personality tests, you get your results based on how you answer questions.
Right.
Human design is based 100% on your birth information, your birth date, place, and time. And that's where it's not going to change. It's not based on how you answer. It's not based on anything else except for your birth information. And so whatever energy type you get, there's 5 different energy types in the human design system. Whatever your energy type is, it's never going to change. Sometimes you could take the Enneagram or the disc and your results change or shift based on how you answer those questions. But either way, like looking at human design, it brings in different aspects of astrology, the chakra system, the Chinese I Ching, and the Kabbalah, some ancient sciences that are kind of brought together under this umbrella that make up what human design is. So it's really kind of a window into like who you are and who you were born to be and the work and the bigger purpose that you were put on this earth to do.
So cool. I was just gonna ask you if it's related to, it's funny because I was just at a little barbecue with some friends of ours, and she is totally into astrology. And so we were sitting last night and she was looking up our astrology charts, and your moon is in this, and your Mercury is this, and all of this stuff. And funny enough, it was like, for those of you that are like, oh my gosh, like astrology, like, don't believe it, it's bogus or whatever. No, everything that she was saying about me, about my spouse, about herself, her spouse, it was like, wow, that is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about like the different, I know enough to be dangerous, which is not that much, but tell me about the different, you said energy types or different human design types that there are.
Yeah, so there are 5 different human design energy types. And so when you take the test, you're going to be one of the 5.
Mm-hmm.
You're either going to be a generator, a manifesting generator, a projector, a manifester, or a reflector. And to put it into just some context, if you are a generator or a manifesting generator, combined, those 2 energy types make up about 67 to almost 70% of our population. So many of us here are either generators or manifesting generators.
Okay.
If you're a projector, you make up about 20 to 22% of the population. Manifestors make up about 9 to 10% of the population. And then reflectors are the rarest at 1% of the population. So that kind of give you, some insight into like the different energy types and like how rare different types are. And it doesn't necessarily mean one type is better than another.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that energy type is your first layer of uncovering like your energetic like fingerprint in the world.
Okay. So tell people, I guess, how do you find out what your human design type is?
Yes. And so the best software I recommend you start with, there's a free software online. It's called mybodygraph.com. So if you go just to mybodygraph.com, you can enter your birth information and it will give you your human design chart. It will show you a picture, like a picture representation of all you'll see energy centers, you'll see symbols and gates and stuff. And if that is overwhelming, what I love about this software is on the right-hand side, there is a summary. And that summary will just tell you type. It will tell you your strategy. It will tell you your not self theme and your signature theme, which is just things to watch for, whether you're stepping out of alignment or into alignment. So it will really break down the chart very, very simply for you. There's many different types of human design software out there, but this one is the easiest to plug into, get your results, and then just see from the summary what some of that stuff means.
What we're going to be talking about is marketing content, mm-hmm. and how best to produce marketing content that's aligned with your human design. So before we do that, like what do people need to understand about human design before we kind of get into that?
Yeah. So I would say the biggest thing to understand about human design, and maybe the best way to describe this is like why this is important, like why you should pull this into pieces of your business, is just understanding that this first level, this first layer, when you uncover like your human design type,
Mm-hmm.
and you start to dive into some of the pieces of what it means. So like, for example, let's say you take your human, let's say you pull your chart and it says you are a projector.
Mm-hmm.
One projector compared to another projector, you are two completely different people. So it's really up to you to kind of understand, what does it mean to me to be this projector in the life I have, in the business I have, in the goals that I have for, this year and next year in the future. So it's really important to not just read about your human design type, read about some of the nuances or like the strengths or the differences that make you different as that projector, but then also kind of take it and put it through the lens of you. Because you'll find resources that will tell you, well, projectors are this and this and this and this. And it's really important to not go so by the book that you don't really apply it to what makes it unique for you. So
Right.
for me, for example, yeah, I'm a generator. My husband is a generator. My youngest daughter is a generator, and my oldest daughter is a projector. We have three generators in our house. Not a single one of us are the same. I am completely different as a generator than my youngest daughter. Just because the energetics that are in your chart, the centers that are defined in your chart, what defines you as that generator or projector or manifester or manifesting generator or reflector is going to be 100% unique to you. So that's the first thing I would just say, is take everything you read and study with a grain of salt, but it really comes down to how you interpret it and how it holds importance to you in your life, in your business.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I know when I did my human design, and I'm a projector. Mm-hmm. And the big thing that kept popping up for me that was so confusing to me is projectors need to wait for an invitation. Mm-hmm. And I kept just thinking to myself, okay, as a business owner, how do I just keep waiting for an invitation? Waiting for an invitation to do business, for instance. Like what does that mean? Like even?
Yeah. So, what you're talking about, so that waiting for the invitation, that is that's kind of second layer in your chart. So that first layer is you're the projector. Mm-hmm. And then wait for the invitation. Like that is kind of your strategy. So this is how you are designed to respond to the world around you. And each energy type has their own specific strategy that goes along with it. So projectors waiting for the invitation, it's not like you're waiting for a literal invitation in the mail, although that could count, but more of, and this is where, waiting on the invitation is to not take that literally. You can still market, you can still put yourself out there, you can still create content, you can still start conversations. Really, the waiting for the invitation, it's more centered from an energetic standpoint. So you as that projector are this guide to the rest of us. You have this energy where you can see into different people, situations, opportunities, just different things. And you can see other people more clearly than they see themselves. You can see different like projects, opportunities more clearly than other energy types. And what that does, it allows you to hone in on exactly what this person needs to get to where they're going to go. So that makes you an excellent guide. It makes you an excellent strategist. It makes you an excellent like coach for others. But the trick with waiting for the invitation is giving that advice, even though it's going to help that person, when that person is energetically open to hearing it. Because otherwise, if you give that advice like that, and it's more of that, you have that expert knowledge or expertise. So sharing that with someone who's open and willing, ready to hear it, versus if you didn't wait for that opportunity, it would kind of go over their head or it wouldn't be received. And that would probably leave you feeling a little bit like, well, that really didn't help that person. So that will kind of slide you more into your not self feeling of things, which is that feeling of bitterness.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's really, but you can ask questions. You can ask open-ended questions to kind of see where the person is at, to see if they'll invite you in to like giving that advice, things like that. So it's like,
Okay.
how can you apply it versus taking it very literally?
Right. Got it. Okay. So there's 5 different human design types, and we are going to talk about like how do we create magnetic content for our business, marketing content we're talking about based on human design. Is the best thing for us to kind of go like type by type, or is there another way to like approach this?
Yeah. So what I would probably do is let's go, energy type. We'll just stay with the 5 different energy types, and I can give some specific like tips on how to approach marketing and really just showing up for your brand, for your business.
Okay.
Which includes like your content that you're putting out to the world. So
perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So if we're looking at the 5 energy types, let's just start with generators. So if you are a generator, human design type, you as an energy type, you have a defined sacral center, and that just means that you have this life force energy that you put out to the world. So you put out this creative life force energy that is really magnetic. You as that person are already magnetic to the things that you want to create, like calling in those dream clients, calling in like those higher level goals, and getting yourself to that next level in your business. The trick with like being that generator is making sure that you're pouring your energy into the things that light you up and excite you, because that generates more of that life force energy that other people just love to be around.
Okay.
And when it comes to marketing and your content, this is where you can have a strategy of this is what I'm going to talk about this week. But from a generator standpoint, the more you show up in that excited energy and you talk about your offer, you talk about what's going on in your business, to some extent, if you're showing up where you can talk about what's going on in your life from an excited standpoint, that's going to magnetize and draw people in. They feel that energy from you. So if you are creating content for generators, video is very powerful because it really showcases your excitement, your energy. And so this is where when you're talking about anything you're promoting through your content, any like a free challenge, a freebie, an offer, things like that, talking about it along the lines of why you're so excited about this thing. What excites you about this free offer or this thing that you're putting out to the world. So really stepping into and getting and feeling and stepping into that excitement behind whatever you are showcasing for your business. And like I said, video works best. You can still use written word. If you are on different platforms like say Instagram and you do stories are powerful for this as well, because you can really show up either just showcasing the different things that you're excited about behind the scenes too. So that's kind of a couple of tips if you are a generator for creating that magnetic content, is really putting it through the lens of this is why I am so excited about this thing and why, and other people will kind of feed off of that.
Okay. So if you don't feel, so on the kind of the opposite, if creating this content, you're not feeling that level of excitement, whether maybe I always say to people, there's 3 kind of foundational pieces of content that we start with. One is video, one is blogging, and the other is podcast. So if one of those, or even something that you're talking about, is not creating that level of excitement for you, it's probably that you're not aligned.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. So it's finding, So I love that you brought this up. It's finding the medium, the platform that works really well for you. If you love to write, and that you can still, people will still pick up on that energy in the written form versus the podcast versus the video. So choosing the right medium for you is going to be huge, because then you can still step into like your creative power. You can still feel like you can be creative, you can be authentic, you can be you, and showcase that excitement as well.
Right. Yeah. And I think what you were talking about, even in the beginning, you had said you were a generator, and you were talking about how, you were in physical therapy, and then that just no longer felt like exciting to you. You got into Pinterest marketing, and even though you were successful with it, it wasn't generating that level of excitement. And then you found human design and you got super excited about it. And I can tell you just from watching your content and reading your content that there is an excitement and a passion behind what you do. And it was one of the reasons that I reached out to you to be a guest, was because I could feel that energy and I could feel that excitement, and I was drawn to that. So
yeah, that's definitely the power of like staying in your lane and really choosing, like making sure you're showing up and serving people in a way that truly aligns to you and excites you, but then also kind of spotlighting that and showcasing that in a way that really feels aligned to you through the content here.
Okay. All right. So what energy type is next?
So the next one we can talk about is manifesting generators. So if you are a manifesting generator, you are a little bit of a blend between the generator and the manifester.
Okay.
And so you still have that sacral center defined. You still have that aspect of the generator to you where you have that life force energy. You are still very magnetic as long as you're doing the things that light you up and excite you. Your marketing and your content are included in that. So again, it's still showing up in that excited energy and showcasing why you're excited about the things that you are putting out to the world. The manifester addition to this, the biggest things with the clients that I work with that are manifesting generators, especially as online business owners, is giving yourself permission to create more in the moment. So manifesting generators, that manifestor piece to them, likely you do not like to be boxed in. So a lot of the content creation systems out there are, sit down, batch your content. Here's like a structure. Here's a checklist. And most manifesting generators, they want more freedom. So when it comes to like your content creation, if you are an MG, giving yourself permission to, let's say you do love video, but it's having to feel like you have to show up at a certain time all the time where you're boxed in. Manifesting generators, they need to give themselves permission to show up when they want, how they want, saying what they want. And that's kind of that manifestor piece, is bringing in that freedom. So when you're marketing in your content, give yourself permission to pre-record some of your stuff, pre-record some of your videos when you're in that excited energy. And then you can kind of push that out when it makes the most sense. Giving yourself permission to, flex when and where you're creating your content, flex what you're talking about, but also pulling in that piece of the manifester, and you're actually informing people. So you, to some extent, you're even teasing your audience a little bit more. Because the manifester energy, manifestors and manifesting generators, that energy is, they are 10 steps ahead of their audience. So this is another thing where if they are promoting something, if they are launching something, teasing your audience can help kind of pre-frame their audience for there's something coming. There's something they're launching, there's something they're promoting, and it gives everybody a chance to catch up. Otherwise, the MG, the manifesting generator, might start promoting or talking about the thing that they're excited about, but they're not getting a lot of the engagement because they're way ahead, and their audience and their people are trying to catch up to them. So that's one extra tip for the manifesting generator, is just that permission to give yourself freedom to create if you want to do video one day, if you want to do, written another day, if you want to do more graphics, if you want to do more pre-recorded, it's 100% giving yourself that freedom, because as long as you're capturing that excitement energy and that's what's getting published, people are still going to be drawn to that too.
Right. Yeah. I'm thinking about one of my current clients now. She's a parent and teen coach, and I want her to find out what her human design is. But one of the things that she often says is, I just need to create videos when like I'm in the mood. Like when the moment strikes me, I just need to, create a video. And this month we decided to do more video in her content. And her videos are awesome. They're literally like less than 1 minute, but they are so full of excitement, and she pre-recorded them when it felt in the moment for her. She just recorded it and uploaded it to the drive, and then later we put that out as content.
Yes.
So that would, I think, be an example. Again, I have no idea if she's a manifesting generator or if she's a generator. I would guess, just based on her personality, she's one of those two, but I'm definitely going to find out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So then the next energy type is projectors. So as a projector, the biggest thing for projectors to recognize is that you are that guide. You are this person that sees with so much more clarity what other people can't see. Okay. So when you are putting your content out there, the biggest thing is when you're talking about your offer, you're talking about your freebie or a challenge or anything that you're promoting through your content, is showcasing that knowledge, demonstrating that knowledge, showcasing the framework that you've created. Any way, shape, or form you can almost give people like this sample or this like taste of what it is you offer through like the steps that let's say you created a framework and it's got 5 steps to it, talking about the different steps of your process, but really pulling it all back into, this is your signature process. This is what you've created. Sharing client stories, success stories, testimonials, just showcasing like the before and afters of what others have experienced working with you, because that's going to ultimately just demonstrate to the world that you are this guide, you have this knowledge. And as you're putting that content out there and people engage with it or comment on it or, maybe reach out to you, like those are your invitations. So engagement on your post, converse, like things like that give you kind of that permission to either engage in the comments on that post, or if you're doing like some sort of a story or something like that, I keep coming back to Instagram or like even Facebook, or where people are engaging in your stories. If you're showcasing something behind the scenes in your stories, like, again, that is your invitation of somebody's, even if it's just, oh, this is a great tip, thank you so much. It's just an invitation to say, ask another question or something along those lines. So that's where your power is as that projector, is showcasing your knowledge. And then when it comes to like the creation of it, it's really honing in on when it works best for you for creation. So again, projectors, because you are so much more efficient than the rest of us, you can get done in about 4 hours what it takes the rest of us 8 hours to complete, because you hone in on the efficiency of things. As long as you're staying in your zone of genius for the work that you're doing, you can give yourself permission to not work full 8-hour days all week long, to really only work what needs to get done, what needs to get done. And so through your content creation process, I've talked to projector clients of mine that absolutely, they can do some of their creation, but some of the admin and stuff like that, they know that that's going to get delegated because that's not in their zone of genius. So through some, and other MGs, other energy types can use that too, but projectors especially, is where in the creation process are you in your zone of genius? Is it recording, creating the content, and then delegating? Do you love being hands-on through the entire process? It's really up to you to figure out what that process looks like, because at the end of the day, you're going to be able to create a content creation system and a marketing system that's really efficient, that you could easily like delegate and kind of hand off to somebody else to help you.
Yeah, it's so funny to hear that, because like I think I mentioned, I'm a projector, and in just starting this whole podcast, system wise, it's like a well-oiled machine. Like I had, before we even launched, I had the entire system documented, everything set up in our project management tool. Like it's in checklist to make it easy for the person that's helping me to do the pieces that they need to do. But then there's certain pieces that I feel like, as the expert, like I'm the one choosing what is the audio clip going, what piece of this podcast is going to be the audio clip? What piece of this podcast is going to be the video clip? What is the quote that I want to pull from this that I feel is going to most resonate? Because I do have kind of that, I know my audience like really well. And I do have like this need to teach, to guide, and to pull out the best pieces of content to give to my audience. So that's kind of how I do it. But then after that, it's just like, I don't want to be involved. I want to be involved in talking to the person, pulling out the information that I feel like is good, highlighting that, and then handing it off to someone for production.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are 100% like leaning into like your zone of genius, what's aligned to you, what works for you, and just recognizing, this is not going to work for me. This has to get, somebody else has to help me with this. And that is how you as a projector protect your time, protect your energy, and really only hone in and do the work that you really love every day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have left manifesting generators and reflectors.
We have manifestors and reflectors. So
manifestors, right.
Yes,
Okay.
So this is so if you're a pure manifester, you are like second rarest, 9 to 10% of the population. If you are this manifester, like I kind of mentioned before, when it comes to your content creation, manifestors are like the visionaries. Like they see the bigger pictures. They speak like their strategy is to inform everybody else of their ideas and to actually kind of like be that spark that gets bigger movements rolling. They're not necessarily meant to micromanage the process or see it through to the end. They're meant to get things started, get things rolling, but they're like that visionary that sees what needs to come into reality. They inform. So they're telling other people, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm excited about. Through that process, the right people step forward to help support them. So if you are this manifester, when it comes to creating your content, remember, as that bigger picture seer of things, that visionary of things, you are light years ahead of the rest of the people around you. You're a fast mover. You see things and you take action unapologetically. That's the big piece as a manifester, is seeing what needs to happen, informing people, and really just unapologetically informing people of, this is what I am excited about. This is what needs to happen. Here's how it's going to happen. And so when it comes to your marketing content and creating content around what you're promoting, what your offers are, just remember your audience we're all a few steps behind you. So the more leeway time you can give for us to catch up to you as that manifester, the better that we're going to be able to kind of embrace and step forward to like take you up on that offer, to sign up for whatever you are launching or promoting or really trying to get support through with the content you're creating. So teasing your audience is huge. Especially if you're coming up on a launch or something, teasing your audience ahead of time. Wait lists for your audience are big because it gives that energy or that air of excitement that something is coming and everybody is like, okay, I really want to know more.
Okay.
And then kind of creating that content around like the promotion for what you're doing. And for a manifester, it's again, talking and informing on why you are so excited and why what you have to offer is needed by the rest of the world, why this is important, why you're excited about it. So again, showing up in that excited energy, but then again, recognizing that you as that manifester, you have to have that complete freedom. So again, pre-recorded videos, giving yourself permission to show up when you want, where you want, and how you want in your content, whether that's written, audio, video, a mix of all of them if you love them. And it's really going to depend on how you as that manifester identify as being that manifester and truly understand your energy levels and the ebbs and flows of it during the week, during the month, those types of things. And that's going to help you really kind of craft ways of creating content where when you get those bursts of inspiration, you're creating videos, you're writing, you're giving yourself permission to create more in the moment and then kind of let that go out, roll out and publish. So then you as that manifester may feel more aligned to being the creator of the content itself, but then having the support behind that to help get that content out to the world,
Got it.
like on a more like consistent timeline.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So manifestors, and then reflectors was the last type we were going to talk about. So reflectors, you are 1% of the population. And really what makes you that reflector is you have no defined energy centers in your chart. So you're very open to the rest of the world, and you take in energy from the environments you're in, the people that you're around. And so you really are this mirror back to the rest of us of who we are, what you're seeing in the environment that you're in. So when you're creating content as that reflector, number one is understanding your own energy levels. So your energy is going to ebb and flow because your strategy is to kind of align with the lunar cycle. So you might notice as the moon transits through the gates in your chart, that's a little deeper layer to this, but as that reflector, as that moon translates or kind of shifts through the different gates and activates different gates in your chart, you'll have different centers activated and different periods of time where you have different bursts of energy. So again, this is where you understand, okay, as a reflector, this is kind of my pattern throughout the month. So I know about like this time each month that I'm going to have more energy than, you know, at the beginning of the month or something like that. It's really understanding the ebbs and flows of your energy and how to capture the content creation in throughout that cycle. So again, here you can create your content around a system that works for you. So it doesn't have to look like I'm sitting down and batching my content. Like somebody who's a generator might fare better at having like a block of 2 to 3 hours to sit and batch content. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I do that sometimes and I absolutely love that. Other times I have to break it up a little bit, but for me, I'm a little bit more linear and that tends to work. An MG, that's not going to work as well. A manifestor, that's not going to work as well. To some extent, even a projector, that might not feel the most aligned to you, where we have all these language around like batching your content, batch 30 days worth of content and things like that. But really it's taking into account how that works energetically for you. So as that reflector, maybe you find a certain point in the month where you're like, this is when I do all of my creation. It really works for me. Mm-hmm. And that works for you. Or maybe you're noticing throughout the week, I have more energy in the morning. So I'm just going to create in little bits as I go. And then it's about finding like any support that you might need to, again, help get that content out to the rest of the world, and the support that you need through that. But really from a content creation standpoint, it's looking at the things, again, that you are excited about, but you can also pull in the different things that you are seeing from the world around you, the things that you are seeing from the clients that you're creating, and really showcasing and kind of mirroring to the rest of us what you have to offer and how that can help solve the problems that we have. So being like stepping into that reflector energy and actually reflecting or mirroring back to the rest of us what you're seeing, what you're feeling, you know, through the work that you're doing, because that is one of your superpowers as that reflector, is you see and feel so much more than the rest of us.
Awesome. Okay. So as you can probably just see from just this little bit of, you know, chatting that we did about human design, it can be complicated. And I will tell you just from experience in starting to read books about it and diving into my own human design, there's a lot to learn. So tell the listeners, how can they work with you? Like, what would that look like to, you know, get input on their marketing strategy as it relates to their human design?
Yeah. So the best way, I would say, if you are completely brand new and you want to learn a little bit more about this whole human design thing that we've been talking about, I do have a free resource that everybody can get started with. That is one great place to start. Mm-hmm. And so that is my human design start guide. And that can be found at jendys.co/HD start. That's kind of a great resource.
I'll drop that link in the show notes. So. Okay.
Yeah. And then if you're looking at, okay, what does it look like to actually uncover my human design and not just understand my chart, but how do I actually take and apply these concepts to the specific thing that I'm working on in my business, whether that is like the content creation we talked about, whether it's I need to show up a little bit more authentically in my brand, my messaging, understanding and stepping into my bigger gifts so that I can actually move this bigger mission and this bigger purpose forward. How can I really do that with support? So I would recommend, if that's something you're interested in learning more about, I do offer HD clarity sessions. And that's just a session where we sit down, we talk about your business, your goals, and what it would look like to pull human design into the mix of your business and your marketing.
Okay.
And that could potentially lead to working together. And that is more in a one-to-one capacity container of both human design reading and strategy session, and then specific goals and support and coaching for about 90 days. So that's kind of what it looks like to kind of really go all in and apply your human design to your business and marketing.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So I hope at the very, very minimum, if you're listening to this show, I hope at the very, very minimum that you just go out. Tell us the link one more time for people to get their human design.
The free resource online is mybodygraph.com.
Mybodygraph.com.
You can go and pull that chart. And if you grab the free resource I mentioned just a minute ago, it shows you how to go into the software. It shows you how to pull your chart. It gives you like tips on it kind of walks you through that process. So you're not just going to the software and then wondering what to do next. It will walk you through it.
So it is definitely fascinating. So at the very minimum, at least do that and then decide what you want to do with that information. So before we close out, I want to ask just a fun question. Tell me about a book, a podcast, or a TV show that you are currently binging.
Currently binging. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I would say I am, from a podcast standpoint, I have been listening a little bit more to, I would say, Mel Robbins and Ed Mylett. Those are two podcasts that I've gotten back into and have been binging lately. So.
Someone else, another guest introduced me to Ed Mylett and said was amazing. So yes. I've got to definitely write that one down. So thank you, Jen, so much for being here. I really appreciated this. And is there any final words that you want to say to people?
I would say if you are at all curious after this episode on learning more about your human design, just take that as a sign to take the next step and go get your chart, go see what you are, learn about what you are, and just take it from there. It's kind of that nudge that you need, that, maybe pulling in human design in some way, shape, or form is your next step in your business.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks again.
Yes. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Boosting Business Breakthroughs podcast. Want to hear more business breakthrough ideas? I'll be back next week with a new episode to help you grow your coaching business. If you enjoyed listening, make sure you subscribe, leave us a rating, and tell all your coach friends where to find us. Head over to boostingbusinessbreakthroughs.com to learn more. Thanks for listening, and remember, your next business breakthrough is waiting for you.